Hey, welcome to the next episode of the Confidad Podcast. So glad that you could join us here. Have you here for 3 reasons: to remind you what's true through our fatherhood mindset that we do every single day. If it gets old, that's fine. Just do it. If it's not true yet, that's fine. Just do it. We say things out loud until we believe them or until they become true. And it's to remind ourselves. We get distracted in this world, so it's to remind us what's true. Then I'm going to equip you with tools here for fatherhood, and then moving on as we finish, empowering you to be the dad that your kids need. All right, here we go into our fatherhood mindset. I'm the only one who can fulfill the father role I have, so I choose to do it well. I get to show up well for my kids. Imperfection is reality. Ownership is a choice. Today is brand new, and so is tomorrow. I am wholly loved, so I will love wholly. What a gift. Today, I want to equip you with this thought. I just finished a ruck around my neighborhood, and as I was marching through with a heavy backpack, dog on the leash, I was reminded of this thing that I've taught my clients. And it's around the idea of comparison. If you haven't heard this quote, it's pretty powerful. It's attributed to a few different people, Theodore Roosevelt, among others. But basically, the idea is comparison is the thief of joy. When you compare yourself to others, it steals your joy. Whether you're comparing them and you're like, I'm way better than them, then your identity is on shaky footing because it's all about being better than other people, which there's always someone better than you at something, right? Or it's the other way around. It's like, oh, I'm never going to be as good as them. And that steals your joy. The only time I think that comparison is helpful, and several other people have written about this, I believe Adam Grant's one of them, could be messing that up. Please check my facts. But he talks about the idea of the only time that comparison is helpful is in like one-to-one competition, whether that's like chess. He uses competitive diving as a helpful one. As me as a wrestler, like I grew up wrestling. I wrestled for like 12 years, and that was a really helpful thing in understanding, if I compare myself to this person, maybe I can learn from them in their training skills and their mindset and able to beat them the next time that I wrestle them. So anyway, moving all of that aside, fatherhood is not a competition. Fatherhood is not something where you need to be comparing yourself to other dads. Garage envy, real thing. You wouldn't have it with me. My garage is a hot mess right now after we spent the last 14 months of our lives adding on this space in our house. But there is a real issue if we spend more time thinking about what is that dad doing and why does he have it all together, instead of using our brain space and mind power to become the dad that our kids need. Down the street, there's a family with 3 boys. We have 4, and I've often wondered, do they feel like we have it all together? And this is like that old classic adage of the grass is greener on the other side, right? Like you've seen that be the case in, whether it's just a metaphor or physically. But instead of wondering, like, what is it like to be in that green grass? Have you ever stopped and said, why is their grass so green? Maybe their grass is so green because they're staying home and taking care of it and they don't worry about what your grass looks like. You ever thought of that? Why do we need to spend our time comparing ourselves to other people and wasting that energy when we could be using that same energy and reinvesting it into ourselves as dads? What about not using the energy of, I want other people to compare themselves to me as a dad, like this sneaky little, I'm going to become the most high achieving guy you could ever meet, and I want everyone else to look up to me. But you've worked so hard on yourself and your wealth and your legacy that your kids don't even know you, or even worse, you don't know your kids. Why? Like, why be the person that's on the pinnacle if you're there alone? Maybe you want to be that. That's your choice. However, I wonder if your kids agree with that. I wonder if your kids agree that that should be your highest priority, to show up on the top of the mountain for everyone to compare themselves to you. I wonder what it would look like if you chose to not spend your energy in comparison, but instead put it into wisdom. Meaning, it's really helpful to work on ourselves, right? It's very helpful to be physically fit, to be mentally fit, to be emotionally strong, to be a good parent, be well-rounded, eating well, all that stuff. But if it's only ever so that you become the best version of you, it stops with you. Think about this. The tallest man who ever lived, his name was Robert Wadlow. And at his final measuring before he died, he measured 8 feet 11 inches tall, almost 9 feet tall, like literally a giant. And he was last measured in the summer of 1940. When you think about Robert Wadlow, his mere stature, the things that made him larger than life, limited his ability to do normal things. And if we take that metaphor and we move it over to fatherhood, you may be becoming the wealthiest, best, highest respected business guy in your circle. But is that going to be stunting your ability to show up for your kids? Maybe not, but maybe. The idea here is it isn't about becoming the best version of yourself at all costs. The vision here is using wisdom and discernment to know what are the things I need to work on right now. What are the self-improvement things I need to do? Because if you try and do them all at once, guaranteed some very important things in your life are going to fall behind. Namely, relationships, your marriage, your parenting. If all you're worried about is how you show up for your network, how you show up for your colleagues, how you show up in the workplace and impress everyone else so they compare themselves to you, you will have very little energy and mind share left to invest in the relationships at home. I want to help you become the best leader you can for the most important people that you lead, your kids. So self-improvement is absolutely important. High achieving absolutely is important. Wisdom to know, where do I invest that time? Where do I invest this energy is actually the key. So instead of comparing yourselves to others and being like, man, I bet they have it all together. Like, look at them. Their grass is green. Their kids well behaved. They're saying pleases and thank yous and they're asking questions and all this. Like, who cares? They're not your kids. It's not your grass. Stop trying to take care of someone else's grass or wonder, oh, I just wish I had that. No. Man up. Own your story. Own your lawn. Take care of yourself. Take care of your kids. Take care of your marriage. And I guarantee if you stop comparing yourself to others or stop trying to be the best that there is all around and you instead use your energy investing it in yourself as a dad, as a husband, as the family man before businessman, you will start to see your grass get greener. You will start to see the attitudes of your children change. You will start to see the ways in which you interact with your kids, encourage your kids, challenge your kids, play with your kids. All of that will change because you're not worrying about comparing yourself to others. Almost every single session that I've ever led with a group of dads has had someone say, man, I thought I was the only one that wrestled with this. I thought I was the only person who struggled with this. You're not. So stop pretending that you are alone. You're not alone, and you don't have to walk alone. We'd love to have you in our community and join us to come alongside other men helping each other, because we need help. Shut up if you think we don't. We need help becoming the dads that our kids need. And whether it's us or some other group, I don't care, but do what you need to do to show up well for your kids. Get the help you need. Find a community, whether it's local in your town or online. We'd love to have you join us if you're a good fit. No matter what. Now that you know this, now that you know you need it, now that you've coming to this realization and this seed has been planted in your mind, it's your responsibility to man up and join in a place where you'll be encouraged, you'll be challenged, and you can encourage and challenge other dads to show up for their kids to the best of their ability. So let me empower you today. You might feel like this is a really big hill to climb. Like, well, I'm 40 something, I'm late 30s, I've already like figured out this is how my life is. I don't really need to change. I don't really need to grow. Like I'm just stuck in my ways and this is how it's going to be. If that's you, let me empower you with this reality. You can grow and change. You can change your habits. You can change your thoughts. You can change the things that you spend your time on, because when you realize the importance of it, when you realize what's at stake here, you'll go, yeah, no, I think I need to change. And you have the tools you need to start right now. Like you've been given the gifts and the tools that you need to make your first steps. This is a long, long journey. And maybe you feel like I don't have it. I don't know. Like I'm just going to grin and bear it and just pretend until my kids graduate, and then hopefully they don't hate me and they'll still come back for Christmas. If that's your vision for life, I actually pity you. If that's your vision for what your future holds with your children, that is a sad reality. But the great reality, the truth is today you can start making changes. 1% better today. What's one thing you can do? After you listen to this, when you reconnect with your kids today, what's one thing you can do to be 1% better? Try this. Ask them, hey, what made you sad today? And just wait and hear the answer. And then ask them, what's one thing that made you laugh today? Sit it out. Listen. Even if they say nothing, that's something. They responded to a question that you had. You could even ask them something like one of my clients always asks, what'd you have for lunch today and did you like it? Very simple, very elementary. Also a great way to connect and talk about, oh yeah, I hate that too. Gosh, that gravy with the bits and the mashed potatoes, nasty, I hated that too. Right? Like there's beautiful ways of connecting all over. And you get to do this. Like you are given this time with your kids. It goes by in a flash. And you cannot slow down the clock, but you can slow yourself down. So do it today and empower yourself as you're becoming the dad that your kids need. All right, thanks for tuning in today. Glad to have you here on the Confidad Podcast. Remember, we have our group coming up in January where we're going to set you and your family up for success in 2025, building out a structured framework for your family culture throughout 2025. Hope to have you join us. Would love to have you along for the ride. Peace.